إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا إنه من يهدي الله فهو المهتدي ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا وإمامنا وقائدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا ورسولنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الله بالغمة وتركنا على المحجة البيضاء ليلها كنهارها لا يزيغ عنها إلا هالك. My brothers, my sisters in Islam, I begin with the greeting of Islam and the greeting of Salam. May the peace and the blessings and the mercy of Allah be upon you. I continue by testifying that none is worthy of worship except Allah, and by sending my peace and blessings upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, acknowledging that whomever Allah guides, none can lead astray, and whomever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows to go astray due to their own wrongful actions, sinful desires and inclinations, none can guide back except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So at the beginning of this khutbah, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us guidance, to grant us clarity, to grant us the ability to see truth as truth and the strength to follow it, and to grant us the ability to see falsehood as falsehood and the strength and the courage to avoid it, to speak against it, and to advocate against it. Ya Rabb, Ameen. My brothers and my sisters, the gift of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to this ummah is an incredible gift. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us in the Quran, as we've discussed before, لَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ رَسُولٌ مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ. There has come to you a messenger from amongst you. عَزِيزٌ عَلَيْهِ مَا عَنِتُّمْ. Your anxieties, your insecurities, your worries are dear to him. He cares about you. حَرِيصٌ عَلَيْكُمْ. He's protective over you. بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ رَؤُوفٌ رَحِيمٌ. And when it comes to the believers, he's very compassionate and he's very merciful. This is the way that Allah describes Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as someone who walked our walk, talked our talk, understood our struggles, cared for us, didn't just care about delivering a message and getting it over with, but cared about being compassionate and merciful in the way that he taught, modeled, and embodied that message. And it's an honor to be associated with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this dunya, and it's an honor, inshallah, to be associated with him in the akhirah. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to be from his ummah genuinely in this dunya, and to be amongst his ummah and companions and friends in Jannah. Ya Rabb, Ameen. My brothers and my sisters, one of the greatest powers of Islam and the greatest proof of it being powerful and true is the way that it transformed the lives of the companions. Each and every one of us may be prone to certain behaviors, whether genetically, biologically, socially, whether they're nurtured or natured. At the end of the day, we're prone to specific qualities and specific attributes. For example, Abu Bakr, it was his nature to be very gentle because of his upbringing. Umar, on the other hand, a companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was his nature to be very focused on justice, to be very bold and firm and determined and resilient. That was who he is. Could it be because of the abuse he received as a child? Yes, definitely a factor. Could it be that even the abuse, his parents saw it as necessary because of being brought up in the desert of Arabia? Yes. Were they doing the best that they can? Yes. But at the end of the day, he was prone to justice and firmness, whereas Abu Bakr was prone to gentleness and problem solving and conflict resolution. But at the end of the day, sometimes our strengths could be our weaknesses. Sometimes our gentleness could be the thing that destroys us. because we don't know where to draw the lines. And sometimes our quest for justice could be the thing that destroys us, because we become so focused on justice that we break people's hearts and destroy their relationships around us. But Islam so powerfully transforms the lives of everybody, the lives of all the companions, that they're able to enhance the best qualities that are within them naturally and draw limits on those qualities and nurture other qualities that enhance the qualities that they already had. And that's why Rasulullah ﷺ says, خياركم في الجاهلية خياركم في الإسلام. The best of you in the Jahiliyyah, in the pre-Islamic society, are going to be the best of you in the Islamic society. Because the transformation of Islam, the lived experience with Rasulullah ﷺ, brings the best out of everybody. Let's look at Umar. Umar, we said, was naturally predisposed to justice. But Umar became and built and gained some of the most beautiful qualities of humility and of gentleness. Imagine that Umar, when people thought he would become, when two people saw Umar leaving, sitting, listening to the Quran, and being kind and gentle in his approach to the people that were migrating, or at least some of them, the word spread that Umar may be considering Islam. But what was his reputation? There is no way Umar will become Muslim. Umar is so stubborn that there's a higher chance of his donkey becoming Muslim than he becoming Muslim. That's what they said. That was Umar before Islam. There's a higher chance of an animal who's not even able to comprehend to become Muslim than Umar, because Umar is just too stubborn. That's the natural look that people have towards him. But when he became Muslim, Umar ibn Khattab would cry when he hears the Quran, would correct himself and come down from the minbar and say to the woman who confronted and said, that's not the legislation, are you sure you got this right? He said, the woman has spoken the truth and Umar made a mistake. When Rasulullah ﷺ told him, oh Umar, you will not truly believe in Allah until you love me more than you love yourself. Rasulullah ﷺ's command here and reminders that we have to love the gift of guidance and the one who brought it more than we love our own life. Ar-Rahman 'allama al-Quran khalaqa al-insan. That the gift of revelation is greater than the gift of life itself. Umar was honest. He says to Rasulullah, I don't think I love you as much as I love myself, or more than I love myself. Like, I love you, but I don't think it's that much. And what was the response? Ya Umar, take some time with it, think about it, you have to. He came back a while later and he was honest and said, Ya Rasulullah, I finally get it. I do now love you more than I love myself. But imagine a man who was brought up like Umar, firm, determined, resilient, alpha male in the way that we describe, being so vulnerable with Rasulullah ﷺ that he says to Rasulullah, I love you more than I love myself. And I would do anything for you more than I would do for anybody else. Imagine him being so vulnerable with Rasulullah ﷺ to that point. When that man comes to try to attack Rasulullah from behind, Umar was very firm, turned around and says, no, I will put you in your place. Have you no respect? And at the same time, Umar gained that gentleness that balanced his justice. And a great example of that is when the people could not pay during the famine that he had to deal with during his khilafah. Look at the gentleness that he had. The gentleness. He said that no longer are we going to implement the had of cutting the hand for the thief, because we're not able to guarantee the basic rights. So during this time, we're not going to implement that. And he said to him, why? He said, there's got to be ra'fa and rahmah. There's got to be gentleness with the people. There's got to be gentleness with the people. The jizya that was to be paid by the Jewish community, a senior Jewish man was walking around begging for money. So they asked him, why are you begging? He said, I need to pay my taxes. I need to pay the jizya to the Muslim state. Umar said, how dare you? You take money from him when he's young and working, and now that he's old and he can't pay, you expect him to pay the jizya? And Umar commanded the Muslims to pay out of the state, out of the treasury, to this Jewish man who could not otherwise pay. Imagine, no, you're not going to pay taxes. We're going to give you money to secure basic needs. And they asked him why. He said, there's got to be ra'fa, there's got to be gentleness and rahmah and compassion. So imagine Islam transforms a man that is inclined and prone to firmness. A man who had a very difficult life and upbringing, to be one of the most gentle, one of the most compassionate, one of the most kind, and one of the most soft in his reaction to the Quran. That's great news for all of us. Because it doesn't matter what we're inclined to, Allah can give us the ability to change the most core and the deepest part of who we are through loving Rasulullah ﷺ and through having that genuine connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look at Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr, as we said, was naturally gentle and easygoing and naturally inclined to diffusing tension and solving problems. But did that gentleness limit him? When he became Muslim, he learned how to balance that gentleness with justice and protection over that which should not be compromised. Safeguarding that which should not be compromised. Look, for example, at the time of Hudaybiyah in the negotiations. At the most difficult of times, Abu Bakr, who was never known to say a word that would be an insult to anybody, comes at that time in negotiation when Rasulullah is insulted by the man who comes from Quraysh to negotiate. And Abu Bakr puts him in his place by using some of the otherwise would consider to be most vulgar language. He uses that to put that man in his place. And now it's a time that requires determination, a life and death situation. He puts him in his place. Consider, for example, right after the death of Rasulullah, when people were in denial after hearing the terrible news. Who maintained his calm and went around and saying, no, من كان يعبد محمد فإن محمدا قد مات ومن كان يعبد الله فإن الله حي لا يموت. Usually we expect Abu Bakr to be the gentle one. We expect Abu Bakr to be the one that would have tears and cry and be in denial the most. But during that time he knew how to stand up and limit his emotions and not let his emotions control him, but instead say to the community, whoever worships Muhammad has gone, has passed on, but whoever worships Allah, Allah is eternal, ever living, unlimited, unbound, unrestricted, the one that everyone needs and the one that needs no one. And when the Prophet Muhammad passed away, it was he, Abu Bakr, who decided to wage one of the most aggressive campaigns against those who refused to pay zakah. And it was Umar who said to Abu Bakr, take it easy. Understand that it's difficult for some. Give them some time. And Abu Bakr said, no. With this, we shall not compromise. Because this is the system of Islam. You keep one door open, you open many. You break one part or you compromise one part of it. Every part of it may come to pieces. So imagine it was Umar who's expected to be firm. He's the one at that time that is a little bit lenient. But Abu Bakr takes a firm stance here and says, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And my brothers and my sisters, these are just two examples of the lives of the companions that were transformed by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Transformed to have a complete personality, a balanced scope in the way that they're able to nurture the most beautiful qualities that they have and build onto them and balance them. And my brothers and my sisters, I mentioned this is great news for us because one of the most powerful things about Islam, genuine, beautiful experience, the lived experience, is that when you have that beautiful relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're able to overcome the most difficult insecurities, the most difficult tendencies and predispositions. And you're able to showcase and manifest the best that is within you and balance it. But it requires training. It requires training and constant self-awareness and self-reflection and commitment to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and commitment to a genuine relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as long as that becomes your focus and your vision and the thing that drives you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will allow every step of the way for there to be those who allow you to work towards it, improve it, and better yourself. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة salatu wassalam ala Mustafa. My brothers and my sisters, every nation, every people have a sanctified symbol, or a sanctified figure, or a sanctified ideology that is not to be touched and that is to be respected and admired, and that should not be disrespected or compromised. What's happening in France, to be explicit, towards Rasulullah ﷺ under the banner of freedom of speech is disrespectful, it's inconsiderate to all of us as Muslims. And just like in France, the nation state and the secular state and the secular framework and the constitution are sacred zones that need to be respected, and those who are looked at as compromising that are sidelined, not given space, not given a platform, are muted in the name of securing the sacred fabric of the land. The same thing applies to us as Muslims. Rasulullah ﷺ is a red line that does not get crossed because of our love, our devotion, and because of his genuine and beautiful impact on the lives of millions and millions and millions and billions of Muslims till this day. Our constitution is the Quran. That's the red line. And our legislative authority is placed in the figure of Rasulullah ﷺ. That's a red line. And remember that Rasulullah ﷺ said very clearly and explicitly that none of us believe until we love him ﷺ more than we love ourselves. And it's our duty as Muslims to be able to engage in that conversation with respect, with mercy, with compassion, with, again, we're going to get upset of course, but with channeling that anger and frustration in productive and constructive ways and outlets. Not ways that contribute to the division and contribute to the negative imagery, but in ways that allow the Muslims to be taken seriously and allow the respect that we have for Rasulullah ﷺ to be understood by the wider society, young and old. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to be from those whose lives are transformed through the love that we have to Rasulullah ﷺ. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to be from those who are given the opportunity to be his companions and friends on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Ya Rab, Ameen. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على محمد في الأولين وفي الآخرين وفي الملأ الأعلى ليوم الدين يا رب آمين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبينا وحبيبنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وإسرافنا في أمرنا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على من عادانا. اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها. اللهم ألف بين قلوبنا وباعد بين خطايانا. اللهم اجعلنا مسلمين مؤمنين صادقين قانتين راكعين ساجدين آمرين بكل معروف ونهين عن كل منكر. اللهم اهد شبابنا ونساءنا ورجالنا واغفر لوالدينا وارحمهم كما ربونا صغارا. اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات. اللهم ألف بين قلوبنا وباعد بيننا وبين خطايانا. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في كل مكان يا رب العالمين. اللهم انصر المستضعفين في كل مكان يا رب العالمين. اللهم احفظ بلاد المسلمين عن اليمائن والشمائل يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجعل آخر كلامنا في الدنيا لا إله إلا الله محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم رسول الله. واجعل آخر دعاءنا أن الحمد لله وأقم الصلاة إن الصلاة كانت على المؤمنين كتابا موقوتا.